I had my phone on vibrate and I didn't see that you got here. Thanks.
All right. Okay. You're welcome. Miss Laura, this is an amazing garden. It is just gorgeous.
Oh, it's a beautiful place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I don't see any fish though.
He doesn't have any fish because what was happening where birds were coming in, grabbing the fish, dropping them on the concrete, and then the dog would eat them, so they don't have any fish. Yeah, he used to.
Can we go out this way?
Yes, I believe you can.
But
It should open up.
I can also pick it up. I mean, I got in, so I can always get out.
I think as you approach it, it will open, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a beautiful property, beautiful home as well. What I like about it, it's sort of a low-profile home. It's not so.
Yeah, it's not one of those gaudy McMansion things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But so it's not yours, I understand.
It's not mine, no. It's a friend's. I think you go left here, yeah.
Mr. Lawrence, do you mind if I record our ride for my YouTube channel?
Sure, I don't mind.
Do it. Thank you. And then I'll give you my card.
Oh, cool.
And
Thanks.
check out the YouTube video later, maybe tonight or tomorrow. I'll publish
okay,
it.
Thanks. Great.
It's just a little hobby of mine.
Yeah, that's all right. So how long have you been doing this?
So the YouTube or the
Driving
Uber,
or, yeah.
the Uber thing like about 2 years, and the YouTube 3 weeks.
Are you from Naples?
No, I'm Dutch. I'm from
You're
the
Dutch?
Netherlands.
Oh, really? Where are you from in the Netherlands?
And I was born in Ede, which is about an hour from Amsterdam. My parents live in Brabant, which is 2 hours from Amsterdam.
Okay.
In the south.
In the south, okay.
Yeah.
In the south.
Okay. So you've been there?
No, but he's not technically my uncle, but good friend, he's since passed away, but I called him Uncle Harold. He was in the 82nd Airborne there and was one of the guys that took the Nijmegen Bridge in
really?
1944, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He lived until recently?
It's about, well, no, I think Harold died in, I want to say, 08 maybe.
Okay. No, that's not
But
long
he was
ago.
a big tough guy, and he went through a lot.
Wow.
And
so he was dropped as a parachute?
he was a paratrooper.
Parachutist.
He fought in Italy, was wounded, then patched up, and then dropped into the Netherlands.
And went back again.
Market Garden. And
wow.
And he was the part of the unit that assaulted the Nijmegen Bridge and captured it. And,
there's movies made
I know.
about that battle.
Well, that's how I found out about all this. I read the book, and his daughter, who's a close friend, said to me, "Gee, my father had something to do with that." And we were with him one night, and it was after his mother died, and we were drinking, and he started telling us the whole thing. And I was not sure whether he was embellishing it or not, and then I got a book on the 82nd Airborne, and sure enough, it was what he told us was exactly what happened and what they did. And you know, all those guys were scarred by those experiences. They you know, they suffered great casualties, you know.
Yeah, they did. They did, yeah.
How are the people in the Netherlands today? Do they have any resentment towards the Germans?
Still, to today.
I believe it.
They do.
Because I know I would. If I lived in a country and somebody attacked us like that, I mean,
Neighbors, yeah.
you know, I still have that towards the Japanese a bit, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing though is that as generations come and go, it's getting less.
Yeah.
And I would say that among the youth there's no resentment towards the Germans, but it's still a scar in our history.
Right.
And I'm sure that the Germans feel sorry for what has happened, but it's the newer generation.
The new generation does, yeah.
And,
but you know, your country was occupied, so you weren't just invaded, you were occupied for 4 years, right?
Yeah, 5 almost.
Yeah. And I know what they did was terrible because people were starving and yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, my grandma had stories about no food in Amsterdam
Yeah.
and having really tough times making ends meet and trying to survive in Amsterdam with the children. My father and mother were born in Amsterdam during the war. One just before the war and one during the war. And yeah.
Now Amsterdam, is it way north?
No, it's somewhat in the middle.
In the
I would
middle,
say.
and like
Yeah.
Arnhem is where, north or
Arnhem is more to the
east,
on the
right?
same level as Amsterdam,
But east,
but east. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
on the border of Germany. Yeah,
Almost, yeah.
yeah.
Well, you know it well. But
Well-
you knew a famous person. Wow, that's that.
Well, I read
that's
a
quite
lot
amazing,
about it,
yeah.
and Harold told me a lot about it, and you know, I know from his personal telling how tough it was, and
Yeah.
um,
I must also say that I always feel a form of gratitude towards American servicemen for, well, not so directly for liberating our country, although that's there too, but just for servicing. You know, when military people, and I think that the Dutch are more aware of that, is that when military young guys serve, it's for freedom.
well, he was
if-
17 years old.
Oh, imagine that.
I mean, and he, you know, again,
17, yeah.
his view of it was what he did. He, you know, I mean, and he lost lots of friends. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're in this experience, and you know, your friends are all dead, and you're, you know, it's just shocking to a young person, any person, but to a young person to experience that, and he carried it through his whole life.
Yeah, I bet.
And those guys did. I mean, you know, those guys did liberate Europe, and the thing about
They
them is
did.
they didn't. Well, people at that time, not just Americans, but I've talked to people who were that age in France, and they, you know, they really had no idea. They knew where America was, but they didn't know much about it at all. You know,
Right.
and our guys knew nothing about. You know, they were not uneducated. Well, some of them, like Harold, never went beyond high school. He didn't, you know, they were just there to serve, and you know,
Yeah, when you're 17,
yeah.
you have probably not finished the high school yet. Yeah, it's quite amazing that we think our freedom of my country, but I would argue even in this country, to people like him.
Oh yeah.
And
I mean,
so what was his name? I'll mention that.
Harold O'Connor, his name was. If you, I don't know. Let's see if there's anything. I think if you Google him in the Buffalo newspaper, I think there was some article about him in the Battle of the Bulge. He was in.
Yeah, look him up.
Yeah, you might not find anything, but
That's fine. But if I do, then I'll link to it. And may he rest in peace. And yeah, thank you, Harold.
Harold's buried in Arlington. And he was a great guy. His daughter Sue is a good friend.
So Lawrence, may I ask what do you do?
Well, I'm retired. I was
Okay.
in the hockey business.
In the hockey business?
Yeah, I was with the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, really? I
And
guess as what?
in fact, that the house I was just leaving, he was my partner, the main owner of the team. We sold it 10 years ago.
Oh, okay. So you were co-owner of the team?
We were, yeah. He much more so than me, but
So how do you make money when you own a sports team?
well, in our case, we you know, operated a profit, sold tickets, you know.
Oh, you get to sell the tickets, of course.
Oh yeah.
That's not the stadium then.
it's hard to do, but we were pretty successful at it. You know,
But it depends on the success of your team, I suppose.
our team was very successful. They don't have many Dutch hockey players, if any, do they?
Nope.
Yeah.
0, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
Which is odd because we're good at speed skating.
I know it. I know.
We're good on the ice. I remember as a kid I was always on the ice in the winters. It's great.
No, I remember, yeah, just growing up, you know, Hans Brinker and the Golden Skates, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the Dutch were all that.
But I'm not aware that we have a Dutch national ice hockey team.
I don't think you do.
No.
And I'm trying to remember whether there were any
But so the venue sells the tickets, but then gives like part of the profits to the two teams that
yeah,
come
you have to
play.
pay the players, you have to pay your expenses.
course.
So what's here, give me your let's see. I'm trying to why this doesn't copy. Oh, copy, okay. What's your cell? And I'll just text this.
Just give you my card, right?
Oh, I do have your card. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just put it on there then, and I'll send you the link to his obituary. Anyway.
Oh, nice. Thank you
Yeah.
for doing that, Lawrence.
Yeah. Okay.
I
here it
really
is.
appreciate that. Yeah, it's nice to be able to honor also people like that a little bit because, you know,
Well, people forget about him, you know.
of course.
And they forget, you know, they don't owe everything to anybody, but you know, I think the one thing that I've always been proud about the United States, I think that I think it's the only time in world history, maybe I'm wrong, but where a country liberated another country and left. They didn't stay and occupy it. You know, I think we were
It's true,
I think we were out of there pretty quickly after the war, I believe.
Oh, yeah. I don't remember you guys staying, no. Well, I mean, the Americans left some bases
Yeah,
against the Russian
Right.
threat all over Europe. I remember as a kid going to Soesterberg and watching the F-15s take
Oh.
off, and they often would have scrambles. And as a kid, I just loved seeing that stuff. Yeah. And the Americans were very present in those days. That's 30 years ago, 40 years ago.
do the Dutch ever commemorate any of those days still, or?
So we do, and we have a national liberation holiday. And I do believe that the Americans and the other countries that were involved in liberation definitely get commemorated.
Yeah, because the British ultimately liberated Netherlands, didn't they?
Sort of.
After Market Garden failed.
So I'm not 100% sure about the history and the time frames of these battles, but it could be so, yeah.
Yeah, because I
But
think
it was the Canadians, the American,
Yeah.
and the British. Those
Yeah,
three were the
because
main
what-
forces.
what happened, I believe, was yeah, there may have been some American divisions, but the primary thrust from the U.S. went through France and underneath through, that's Belgium and the Hurtgen Forest and places like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the British came from the north.
What always surprised me, though, is that Hitler would not give up. Even when you see it crumbling,
he
you
was
see it falling
insane.
apart. He was.
He was insane,
Yeah.
and you know, for Hitler, well, the U.S. was never going to let him give up. You know, he was done, so he
Mhm.
was going to fight to the last person because
But doing so destroyed his own country.
he destroyed his own countries, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'm going to just call this guy who's trying to reach me. right, take care. Okay, bye.
I'll cut that out of
Oh
the
yeah,
video.
yeah. If you wouldn't mind, that would be great.
No problem.
Yeah. Somehow I tried to send you this one thing and it didn't come back. I didn't use anybody's second names anyway, so. Yeah, so I sent you two things about Harold. One is from an article about him, and then let's see if there's.
Nice.
Yeah, so I sent you his obituary, and I sent you a story, some quotes from him about the Battle of the Bulge, and because he went right from there to Belgium.
Amazing.
And then from there into Germany.
Wow. So he fought until the end of the war?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
And then in what business when he came back to the
He owned a
US?
tavern.
Sorry?
He owned a tavern in Buffalo.
Oh, okay.
But he fought in the worst part of the war in Italy. Was dropped in the mountains there during the stalemate at Anzio and was wounded. And it had a terrible toll on him, because I know later on in life he said he never had a night where he slept where he didn't dream about the war.
Oh, wow.
And he was a big man. He was Harold. I think he was 6'2", 6'3", and good family.
Mm. So how was he related to you?
He wasn't related to me. I called him
sorry.
Uncle Harold just because of the, it's an American thing. Sometimes when you're close to somebody who's older than you call him. But he was not related to me. He's the father of a good friend.
Okay. All right.
So I would just always call him Uncle Harold, but he was not my uncle.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's really special. The things you learn in an Uber, I'm telling you. I got a few more people like you. This channel is going to be a great success.
Well, the
these are unique stories. That
was such a pivotal. I mean, first of all, a lot of people don't realize how much the Netherlands suffered during the war and how they bore the brunt of it. You were the back door to France, and they went right through your country.
Right.
Yeah.
That only took Germany 5 days to conquer Holland.
Well,
I think we had two planes in three times.
Yeah, not even really, right? Because they went,
Yeah, we had a system to defend Holland. There were these waterways that we would flood so that their tanks couldn't roll through the country.
Right.
But they just dropped parachutists everywhere behind the waterways, and that was that.
Is that how they did it?
That's how they did it, yeah, basically. And they just bombed the hell out of Amsterdam and Rotterdam. They leveled Rotterdam almost.
Yeah.
And then the Dutch said, okay, no more, please.
Yeah.
Because it's too much killing, too much devastation. And the Second World War is a big scar indeed. So what do you think of the current war in the Ukraine? You think Putin is going to wise up, or is he as lunatic as Hitler?
Well, oh, hold on one second. I can't record this. Is going to be a business call. Can you turn that off? Yeah.
You can turn it off.